for most of us anyway, unless you got some reason why you don't want to go to the DPS and get a new driver's license or a new ID, but you need to go ahead and do it. The other thing is, what happens if your airline goes bankrupt? So Thomas Cook in the UK made headlines a couple weeks ago when it went belly up and 150,000 people were left briefly stranded on holiday destinations when the airline went kaput all of a sudden. And that airline had been around for years, 100 years. Not 100 years, but a long time, basically. And it's indicated that it's one in a long string of airlines that have shut down this year. WOW Air, Primero, XL Airways, and so on. Norwegian, the big fish in long haul, low cost, has been bleeding money, and there's speculation their time may be nearly up, which makes me nervous because my son flew that over to Germany this week, and they don't need that to happen anytime soon. But folks, you've got to start paying attention to especially these discounted airlines. When they're cheap like that, it's hard for them to sustain that, which makes it very antsy for you guys to take those flights internationally, and especially if you're not going to pay attention to the finances for these airlines. You've got to pay attention. There's a reason why they're so cheap. If it's too good to be true, it usually is, right? Well, that's the truth. And not to say that, people like Southwest have done well, and there's some others out there that have done well. Spirit does well, or they're okay. So, but you have to be careful. All I'm saying is be careful. So here's what you need to know. Know the airline you're doing business with, and know that the government is probably not going to help you. The UK had some travel protection stuff that they kind of were able to help people with, but the US is not going to help you. Okay, they're not going to help you. There's nothing out there that the government will help you if your airline goes belly up. Just know that. Credit card companies may be able to help you if they have premium travel protection included with your card. There is some trip disruption protection that could be included. Read the fine print. There could be some default travel insurance that could kick in. Read the fine print. Consider the number of premium credit cards these days that have dropped travel protection altogether. Citi recently did. American Express Platinum card has they're considering. Chase tends to offer the best travel coverage these days. So you gotta do your research. Pick your travel insurance carefully. Not all travel insurance is created equally. Some specifically exclude failed air carrier. That's what's going to happen. These insurance companies are going to start, as they see these airline companies starting to fall off, that's what they're going to do. That's what insurance companies do. They start excluding the things that are high risk. So you're going to have to look at your travel insurance, whether it's through your credit card company or if you're buying it separately. You're going to have to look at it. And then if that happens, I hope you've gone through a travel agent. So at least then they can call you and help you rebook very quickly. That's travel news for the day. I'm going to take another quick break, and when we get back, we're going to have our guest speaker, Miss Dionne Ross, entrepreneur extraordinaire. The girl is living her dreams. She's doing her bucket list every day, and she's raising a new entrepreneur and bucket list buster, Mr. Levi. So this is Karen Duncan, your bucket list buster. I'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to your Bucket List Buster. This is Karen Duncan, your host, and I have with me today Miss Dionne Ross. Bucket List Buster is about following your dreams, and you are an example of a woman that is on the move and is doing just that. Welcome, Dionne.
Well, thank you. I'm so honored to be here, and thank you for even recognizing that in me. A lot of times
Yes,
you get so busy doing what you're doing, and it's I didn't even realize that you see me like that. So I'm honored.
I
Thank
do.
you so much.
I absolutely. There are very few people that actually say they are they we all dream. I will just put it like
Mhm.
this. We all have
Mhm.
dreams, or most people have
Mhm.
dreams, but
Mhm.
there are very few people that actually execute. And what I've
Yeah.
seen from you is that you execute. So you've got a new book that's coming out. You've started
I
a new
do.
handbag line.
Yes.
You're a
Thank you.
working mom.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so
Yes.
let's talk about who you are and what you're doing. You live in Austin, Texas. Let's start with that.
Okay, I live in Austin, Texas. I grew up here. I went to the University of Texas at Austin. I moved away for a short time for graduate school, and I went to the University of Houston. I applied all over the country, and the only job that hired me out of grad school was a job back in Austin. And it was a shopping network that was brand new. They already had a TV channel going in the UK, and they were looking to hire hosts. At the time, I did not have any real sales experience, but I had television experience. And it's a channel that focused primarily on jewelry. Well, 13 years later, I'm still there. The company's still there. We've since brought in quite a bit. We don't just sell jewelry, but we've broadened what we sell. So we do sell lifestyle products. We do handbags. We do apparel. And that's where my handbag line actually is sold at Shop LC. That's the name of
Nice.
the channel, Shop LC, and I love it. It's it's done. Uh, it's a wonderful job, but it's also in line with what I already like to do.
Right.
So it's that. So yes. And one thing that I really job, unlike most other television jobs, is that they give me the freedom to pursue other things.
That's
Because I'm a
wonderful.
public because I'm a public figure and I represent the network. Most other networks have, they don't like when you go and try to pursue other things. um
Right.
Shop LC is very supportive. Like I do quite a few appearances on my local news station because I'm also a fitness instructor and personal trainer, and so I give workout tips primarily to young moms who are busy and
Right.
on the go. So I give a lot of solutions for women who cannot necessarily get out of the house, but they
Mm-hmm.
want to try to get back their bodies and their self-esteem after having a baby. So, um, my job is very supportive of that, and so it's been great. I'm grateful
That's
for it.
amazing.
Thank you.
I was talking to a gentleman yesterday that works remotely from all over the world, and I was telling him that I'm just so happy that the younger generation gets the
Hmm.
opportunity to pursue their dreams without feeling like they're stuck in careers that only let you work 9 to 5, 5 days a
Yeah.
week for 30,
Yeah.
40 years, and then you get
Yes.
a watch and you get sent home. That was the
Right.
generation that I grew up in, and I guess
Yeah.
that's why people look at what I do and they go, my parents didn't really understand I've quit jobs. I worked for Allstate. I've worked for Austin Community College, but I just felt like there was a place for me out there in the world where I could do what I loved without being stuck to a desk. And I love that you
Yeah.
guys get to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the landscape has drastically changed.
Hmm.
There's a lot more opportunities for entrepreneurship. There's a lot more opportunities for people to pursue things with the internet.
Right.
It's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit more. So you're right. It's things are very different. I think the big challenge now is that I face often is also my parents and convincing them that um, that uh, you know that it's okay to not have a very traditional um, roadmap. You know. um,
Right.
and letting them know I'll be okay and I know what I'm doing. And,
Yeah.
so
It's hard for
that's,
them to understand.
it is because they don't know any other way.
Right.
But,
That's exactly
um,
right.
and for some people that works. There's still those companies now, and those people now that they work, for decades for the same company, and they're content. But there are other things that people can do and pursue, and still be able to support themselves, make a living. It's also, I think, the internet has made the world a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Things that we used to think were so foreign, now, people can start relationships, friendships, significant relationships with people halfway across the world, and they're
Right.
finding that they're more similar than they are different. So
That's
it's,
true.
again, it's a new time, and to me, it's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
And
and I
having the
think too.
confidence to do that.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
And having the confidence to do that, because what's the worst thing can
Right,
happen is that you have to go back and get a regular job. That
right,
was always my thing. The worst thing can happen is I'll just have to go back and get one of those jobs. And I know I'm
yeah,
capable of doing that, but you got
right.
to try. You got to
You
try.
have to
So let's
try.
talk. So let's talk about your daily schedule has to be really hectic. First, I want to say Mr. Levi just turned 2 years old, and we
Yes,
had a
yes,
big
yes.
birthday party. He is one of the cutest gentlemen on the internet right now, I must say.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I love looking at
Thank you.
him.
Thank you so much. He keeps me busy. Right now, I tried to get everything where he would be contained during this call, and he's wanting to make his
Be
presence
with you,
known.
of
But
course.
yeah, he does keep me very busy. So my schedule typically is, so I have two things that I do primarily. I work full time as a host on a shopping channel, and I'm also, like I said, a fitness instructor, so I teach fitness classes.
Hmm.
I work my full time job Sunday through Wednesday,
Okay.
and I also teach my exercise classes Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So those
Nice.
days I am very busy. I have a lot of help from Levi's dad. I have a lot of help from my family, and I would be um, I'd be wrong to say that I do it by myself because I don't. I have a village,
Hmm.
and they're very supportive, and they've been supportive, and I've also been accepting of the help. I think a lot of moms take a lot of pride in doing things on their own, but it
Right.
doesn't have to be like that.
Hmm.
I would not be able to do everything I'm doing if I couldn't trust, who I, left Levi with, or things like
Right.
that. So
Right.
that's wonderful. The days of the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those are the days that excuse me, those are the days of the sorry, those are
That's
the days
okay.
of the week I really try to make progress towards my business. Hold on. Okay, so we're having a meltdown. Again, I told you this is
That's
what we
okay.
do.
That's what moms and babies do. We have to
Yeah,
we I was always one of those people where they said, "Oh no, take the kids out of the church." It's like, mm-mm, this is what kids do. So let's just deal
this is
with
what
it.
they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what's in my eyes at least. But so my off days, I really try to get a lot done. And I think the key for me too is organizing my time. The day before, I try to really kind of write down my priorities, things that I want to
Hmm.
accomplish the next day. The reason I don't do it the day of is because the moment you wake up, everything's a reaction. Um,
Yeah.
it's just you're putting out fires all day, and I want to make sure that the things, my objectives for the day are met, because I am so busy. So it's you mentioned me being having my hand in a lot of things, and to be honest with you, I'm still trying to learn how to balance. When I became a mom, what motherhood did for me, looking at my son, I realized how precious short life was,
Yes.
and I knew that I wanted to expose my son to lots of different things and a certain quality of life. but that also meant me sacrificing